Welcome back to Straight Facts on Wednesday. I'm joined by the Dom Husam. I'm joined by Judge Mo. Loads to talk about today. Kai Havertz out for the season. Martinelli out for over a month. Is Arsenal's title push finished as of right now? May we crown Liverpool the champions at this second? We want to get your opinions on that. We want your views on that. We want Arsenal fans. We want your reaction to it. We are going to reflect, of course, on Manchester City last night, collapsing again at the death. We're looking ahead at the Merseyside derby this evening as well. Plus, has Amorim lost the dressing room? According to reports, this potentially could be the case. As ever, hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. Make sure bell notifications are turned on. But gentlemen, how are you both?
Now, listen, it's a fantastic day. Just another week of me complaining about the weather. That's it, because it's raining and it's like 1 degree Celsius. I actually searched up yesterday. It's colder here than it is in Newcastle. I'm freezing. But other than that, listen, this is one of my favorite shows to do every week. I enjoy it. And yeah, we're back. Make sure guys are liking. Make sure guys are subscribing. And yeah, me and Mo are here to raise hell.
Why? It's only one thing, is that Liverpool have been crowned. Arsenal have Raheem Sterling as a striker or Trossard, or maybe it's Declan Rice. At some point, you'll have to admit it, bro. At some point.
I've got the English gaslighter and the Egyptian gaslighter in the same stream.
At some point, you'll have to take a bow and say, yeah, I was wrong. And that's about, bro.
I didn't realize the Premier League champion is crowned on the 12th of February.
Yeah, it happened to City many times. It happened to you. You literally said, Terry, you want to run the show, of course, but you said on other streams that Liverpool were crowned before COVID. COVID hit in March, end of February. And you said we were crowned. You change, you know what? You change the energy depending on the season or the team.
A different scenario.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Okay, let Terry run this. But before we go on, guys, if you're watching this now, hit that like button. It's going to be a fantastic show. I can tell from the beginning. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure you are the guy to like the video first before you go and enjoy it. So you wouldn't want to hear it from us. Hit that like button. Hit that like button, people. Come on now.
Absolutely. And look, I think we've got to start with the biggest story of the day, and that is that Kai Havertz has done his hamstring. He is out for the rest of the season. Martinelli is out for 5 to 6 weeks. There's still going to be about another month or so until Saka returns. And Arsenal's front line is Raheem Sterling, Trossard, and Ethan Nwaneri. I tweeted earlier on today that £60 million bid that Arsenal could have made to land Ollie Watkins now seems cheap at that price when you look at those circumstances. But how big a blow, Husam, is this to Arsenal's season? Essentially, all of their main attackers are now out for a considerable period of time. I almost feel like this is a little bit... We'll get on to what they should have done in the transfer market, but I don't remember the last time a title contender went through something like this, where, this is the equivalent. This is the equivalent of Jota, Salah, and Gakpo all being out for the rest of the season. If that happened today, or at least for the next 5-6 weeks, and one of them out for the rest of the season, it's fairly unprecedented, really bad luck. What does this do to the title race, in your opinion, Husam?
First of all, I wouldn't say this is unprecedented. This literally happened to us last season. I could bring up literally the injuries list, and no one gave it to us as an excuse. I literally have the injury list up. I can bring it up right now.
Go on.
I can bring it up right now here. This is the list. This is the injury list that we had last season. Salah, hamstring. Nunes, leg muscle. Soboslai, hamstring. Gravenberch, ankle.
Stop. I need to see it. No, I want to hear it. So in February, did you have Salah and Gakpo out for, say, 5-6 weeks and your main number 9 then out for the rest of the season? Did that happen like that?
Okay, but let me finish the list first. We got Salah, Nunes, Soboslai, Gravenberch, Endo, Alisson, Curtis Jones, Trent, Jota, Thiago, Bajcetic, and Matip. Thiago, Bajcetic, and Matip are out till the end of the season. Jota was out for about 2 months. I think he missed about 16, 17 games.
Yeah.
Trent, the same. He's out for a month and a half. Curtis Jones the same. Alisson missed 14 games last season. Endo missed about 15 games last season. Gravenberch missed about 20-something games. Szoboszlai the same. Salah missed 7 games last season, plus when he went away to AFCON. Thing is, I hate, like, here's the thing. Listen, I will feel bad for Arsenal and all that type of stuff, but I hate when we pretend like this is unprecedented. This is not unprecedented. This has happened before.
The example I gave though is when, how, again, I'm asking, I'm not.
But you're being too specific.
Hang on. No, I'm not being too specific. No, I'm not being too specific because, well, you have to be. I mean, look, we're going to get onto whether they should have bought more. That's a conversation. But when was the last time a team in the title race lost for a considerable period of time when you're going into the run-in? It's 3 main attackers for not for a week, but for 5, 6, 7 weeks, plus one of them for the rest of the season. I'm asking for the last time we saw that happen. I don't remember it. I don't think that's an unfair
But
statement.
once again, you're making the example way too specific. And I'll tell you, like, you know the one thing. No, I'll tell you why you're making the example too specific. No one ever showed my club this energy. And Mo will know exactly what I'm talking about. The season where we had Reece Williams and Nat Phillips playing at centre-backs with 2 DMs injured and all 3 centre-backs out at the end of the season, people called Liverpool the worst defending champions of all time. So what we're not going to do is sit up here and act like that didn't happen. Because I'm like a camel. I don't forget. I remember the stuff that happened 4 years ago. We're going to talk about all their forwards being out. I had all my centre-backs out.
Get everybody out.
And all my senior players who could play centre-back out.
We are going to get onto Arsenal's misgivings and their mistakes in this, right? But I'm not going to allow that statement to be made without it being challenged. Because what you were criticised for, Liverpool, back then, is when you had those injuries, it was a madness. But you were playing your central midfielders as centre-backs and you lost a lot of games. As soon as Jurgen Klopp put your central midfielders back in central midfield and played your centre-backs, the Nate Phillips of this world, back in those positions, your form turned around. So that was the reason why Klopp lost an amount of sympathy for a while, is because he didn't play the players in the right positions and you were left wanting. However, of course.
So hasn't Arteta done the same?
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, before you say that, of course,
hang on a minute.
Arteta done the same?
What do you mean? I haven't seen him.
Just on your
hang
first
on a minute.
point.
Hang on a minute.
I'm not even going to do a monologue. I'm just asking a question.
Wait, let me fucking answer. I haven't seen him put his centre backs up front yet. What are we talking about?
He's played Trossard in the 10 when he's had Nwaneri. He's played Partey right back when he's had other options.
He's been criticised for that. The statement I made, okay, which I don't understand why you're challenging it. Show me where it's been a regular occurrence for a title contender to lose its main 3 attackers at this stage of the season. I don't understand why that statement is being challenged.
Okay, I'll tell you why that statement is being challenged. The reason why I'm saying it's too specific is because you're making this just about an attack thing. I gave you an example of when my 3 centre-backs were out at the end of the season. Even though it's not specifically the same exact scenario, it is my defenders out at the end of the year. That's it.
Cool.
Okay, great. Did you win the title last season then? Did you win the title last season?
Did we what?
Did you win the title last season?
Last season, no, we didn't win the title.
No, you didn't, right? So logically speaking, Arsenal will not win the title this season.
Who did I say are the bottle jobs last year?
Okay, so you must be I'm buzzing now because you have won the title, unless you think Nottingham Forest can win the title.
When you're changing the topic. The thing is with this.
I'm not changing the topic.
Okay,
you know that Arsenal will not win the title, right or wrong. You say right or wrong. Okay, just say it. Just say right or wrong. You think Arsenal winning the title?
I can answer the question any way I want. Number one.
Okay, do you? Okay, I'm asking the question and then you answer.
You're going to a separate point that has nothing to do with what I'm first discussing. I'm talking about the babying of Arsenal, which never happened to my club, and that's something that I can't stand. Because in the year that I had Reece Williams and Nat Phillips playing at centre back, they said this is the worst title defense.
You were fair. You were 6. You were 6. You were in second.
But what
actually we finished third? Thank you very much.
The problem here, Sam, is you're not having the reason I apologize for getting frustrated. The reason I'm annoyed is we're not having a grown-up conversation. You're point scoring with what idiot Arsenal fans said online 2 or 3 years ago, as opposed to having well, you are, because you're not having a real conversation. It's frustrating.
Yeah, okay, so your example has to be so specific where I have to find forwards out to the end of the season. Forwards out to the end of the season, centre-backs out to the end of the season. Tomato. Same
Hang on,
shit.
no, it's not, because for me,
Not having a centre back,
No,
not having a forward. Same thing.
because for me, we're talking about this particular situation, and I do think it's fairly unprecedented for a team to lose the majority of its attack force during a title race. I'm asking an example of when that happened, and what
And I
you
gave
do.
you an example.
You
I'm
didn't
not
give it.
trying to prove
No, you
wrong.
didn't. You didn't.
I'm
So
just saying, okay. I didn't give
Oh
you an
my
example
God.
of that specific thing that you
So the
said.
next time, okay, cool. The next time, every time
I
you
gave
ask,
you a similar example.
and Sam, next time you ask a question on the show about anything, I'm just going to find an example that isn't related to that and give you that instead.
Okay,
You know,
you're
I'm
missing
not
my
going to
point
answer the question
completely.
directly. I'm not going to
Let's
answer the
take
question
this a
directly.
step back, okay?
Cool.
No one is saying that a team had this many forwards out to the end of the season.
Then
before.
why deflect and let's just have a
I'm
conversation
talking-
about it?
Okay. Can I explain it now without both of you getting rattled? Because I'm not even angry. I'm just saying something so basic. Because this example was not used before of forwards being out to the end of the season, I'm going to use a different example of centre backs being out to the end of the season.
Yeah.
I can actually make the claim that it's probably even more difficult to have all your centre backs
and I
out
understand
than
that.
it is to
But
have all your
I'll
forwards.
tell you why I'm annoyed. I'll tell you why I'm annoyed. People think it's me defending Arsenal. I want to talk about this problem, and we're deflecting back to Liverpool 3 years ago. I don't want to talk
No,
about
but
that.
I'm not. I'm just saying I'm saying
mad.
we are. I'm saying keep the energy the same. The same people that said Liverpool are the worst title defenders of all time. Don't come here and say this. Also, Arsenal were healthy for 2 years in a row. Arsenal were healthy 2 years in a row. They didn't win fuck all. Last season, no one gave me that excuse. Why should I give them that excuse?
No one is looking for an excuse. We're trying to talk about the problem. Stop talking about weird stuff. We're having a conversation. Stop feeding the trolls.
I'm not feeding the trolls at all. I'm completely relaxed. I'm calm. I'm just talking about the fact that the energy is not kept the same. Let's keep the same energy. So, with this injury situation, yes, specifically the forwards being out till the end of the season, what has not happened before. But we've had other situations where different players from different positions were out. Manchester City went through it in 2019, 2020 as well. When we won the league, they had a lot of injuries in the DM position, the centre-back position. So that's number one. Number two, when it comes to Arsenal this season, they've been very unlucky with injuries. I can never deny this. I've never denied this. I think they've been very unlucky with injuries. The thing that works against them is the 2 years that they were healthy, they didn't win anything either. So that's the reason why like this conversation works against them. Now, in terms of the board and addressing it, I was here on Straight Facts, speaking to you both, saying that Arsenal should sign Ollie Watkins. That 60 million for Ollie Watkins now looks like 4 million. Like it looks like 3 million now compared to like what could have happened. So the truth of the matter is, when it comes to the Ollie Watkins signing, I think they should have made that signing. Now apparently, I don't know if they could do like this emergency loan thing, but apparently they're looking at like some random strikers and shit. I don't know if that's a possibility or not. I really don't know. But when it comes to Arsenal, yeah, they've been very unlucky with injuries, but some of it I think is a little bit self-inflicted, like overplaying certain players, like playing players in too many fixtures, maybe not rotating enough, maybe not trusting in the youth. Like Lewis Skelly has come and been a fantastic player. I think they could have trusted him in the left back or in the midfield. Nwaneri's come and been an absolutely fantastic player, and he's having like kind of his breakout year. So I think he would have helped had he played in terms of like more games, more fixtures, maybe rested Saka a little bit had he been trusted. Maybe Arteta doesn't rotate as much as like a Slot does or a Pep does. I don't know, to be honest with you. But yes, they are very unlucky with injuries. I don't really deny that. The same way they came into the season prepared for depth in terms of like centre back and full back depth, they should have came into the season prepared for forward line depth as well. Specifically, given the fact that they are looking at competing in all competitions. And I saw your tweet earlier on, and I do agree with it. Listen, that's 60 million for Watkins now. This looks like pennies. Like now, if Arsenal had an Ollie Watkins in their team, they really wouldn't be bothered. The one thing I will say that's really funny though about this whole like Havertz thing is, it's funny seeing the same people that don't rate Havertz at all go like, oh shit, we're fucked. Havertz is out at the end of the season. Yeah, but like you don't even rate the guy.
I mean,
like it's like me.
Option,
imagine Nunes is out to the end of the season. God forbid. I never wish injury on anyone. But like, let's say Nunes is out to the end of the season and I come here and have a meltdown. Why should I? I don't rate the guy.
but the thing about that is that because you don't have any other option. But the way I'm looking at this is that the problem now is I'm seeing a lot of Arsenal fans are saying that our title push now is not going to happen because we have Havertz injury. The same people that used to say that we're not going to win the title, that means you don't believe that you're going to win the title. Even before Havertz was injured, and before Martinelli was injured, right? So the problem now, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, do Arsenal fans really, at the end of the season, are going to say we didn't win the title because of the injuries? Or are you going to put context into it because you dropped so many points early and because Liverpool are doing well? You can't have it both. You can't say we're not going to win the title because of the injuries. Yes, the injuries happen, but you should have prepared. But that is besides the point. Even when your full team was available in the beginning of the season, you had one guy or only two guys out, you weren't performing well. You dropped points to Aston Villa from a 2-0 lead up. You dropped points to other team. You had the red cards and all this stuff. It is not because of the injuries, in my opinion. This is just going to give some people excuses to say, yeah, we didn't win the title because of injuries. But that's not the truth, though. Unless someone in the chat thinks that that is the truth. Like, we're going to do revisionism now because of Kai Havertz's injury and say, Arsenal would have won the title if they didn't have injuries. I don't think so. You were behind with Saka in the team, with Havertz in the team. Your manager and your board chose this situation. You reinforce the defense. You reinforce the midfield. That's why you don't have problems even when someone gets injured. You didn't have problems in the beginning of the season because you have Thomas Partey, Declan Rice. But you always have problems when it comes to the forward line because you don't have enough. Because you don't trust your attackers normally. And that is what people are going to say. Oh, we had injuries. Oh, see, Arteta would have won the league. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't think that Arsenal from here are going to win the Premier League. I thought Liverpool are the favourites to win the title by a big margin earlier when Saka got injured. But now, Dubai or not Dubai, you don't have a striker. You're going to play Raheem Sterling or freaking Trossard up top. You're not going to win the title. It's not going to happen. We know that Liverpool are going to run with it. Arsenal, actually, now I don't trust him even finishing second, to be honest with you. I don't think they are. Unless some people think that Arsenal can cope with all these injuries. I don't think so. They should have signed someone. But Arsenal fans need to wake up. It's because of the board didn't reinforce in the summer, not now, not in the January transfer window. You trusted Havertz. You wanted Havertz to be your starter, and you don't like him. And the board stuck with him. Now he's injured. It's just kind of a weird situation for Arsenal, to be honest.
The thing is, they had some of these things are in their hand, though. Like, even Arsenal fans have criticized Arteta for playing Saka so much. Me and you have had conversations with Arsenal fans. So has Terry. They like he has received. Well, like, I'm talking even like from quote unquote Arteta inners. Like, I'm talking about like even from people who like him have said like, okay, we play Saka a bit too much here. You know, like there has been constructive criticism around Arteta's use of the players. I mean, you know, I could give you an example of a dead rubber game that Arsenal had and a dead rubber game that Liverpool had. One, we sent the kids and we're like, who cares? You know, first or second doesn't matter. The other one, they're playing Odegaard, Partey, Rice against Girona. So, like, you know, I don't know. It's you could have a deeper conversation about this.
Yeah. Look, I feel there's so many plates spinning on this conversation. I don't think it's down to one thing. And what I mean by that is there is definite validity in Saka being overplayed. I absolutely agree with that point. The damage was partly done in the summer because they didn't reinforce the attack. Had they bought, and I'm just going to use Husam as the example, as a name to use in the conversation, people. So don't be held. Drop your subjectivity around how good or bad you think he is. Had they bought him in, they might have more points in the league now. They may have still suffered the same amount of injuries, but they'd have more points, so you'd feel you're able to cope more. You've then got the January window. Saka was already injured. Gabriel Jesus, by the way, we said 3 out. Gabriel Jesus as well, when fit, plays a lot. He's also out for the rest of the season. It's just, it is unprecedented I don't remember an attack for a title challenging team being pillaged this much. And there may be examples I've forgotten about, and people can put them into the chat afterwards for us and let us know. But they had Saka missing. Jesus gets injured. They had opportunities to buy and or loan in January, and they've hung and the board have hung Arteta out to dry. People that don't like Arteta will say, well, he has a lot of power and control, so it's on him as well. I don't personally think he would have said, don't buy no one. I think most coaches, most managers, they don't really care about, they don't care about wasting the club's money. If they just said, look, we think he's worth 40 and it's worth 60, you know, it's going to be a dent in the finances. I think Arteta would have said, well, let's take the risk because we've got Jesus out and Saka's out and et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like there's a combination of things here. Arteta overplaying certain players, and I'm talking about the injury crisis by and large, not so much Kai Havertz. not reinforcing in the summer. And I think some of that is also on the manager by him focusing on the play. I think he put faith in Martinelli. He put faith in Kai Havertz, both improving. Martinelli getting back to his absolute best as an example. Kai Havertz being more clinical in those bigger games. When January's come along, I think that's when the board, I think that's when the sporting directors got to step up and almost say, even if Arteta says we're fine, they've got to say, well, no, you're not. And they've got to bring somebody else in and actually own and behave like the people that run the club and not just the head coach stroke manager. So I think overall, this is a colossal failing from Arsenal. There is absolutely no doubt about it. It's unprecedented, though. And that's also where I have a little bit of sympathy. And what I mean by that is we know injuries are part and parcel of the game. So you factor that into your predictions. What you don't factor in, no, that's true. What you don't factor in, the same as Liverpool season. No one, when you thought about your season and getting injuries, what you never factor in is we'll lose all of our defenders. No Arsenal fan, even the ones who despise Arteta, and maybe there's an obscure video somewhere that I can be shown, none of them went. No one said we need to buy more up front because we might lose all of our attackers, all 4 of them to injury. What they wanted was more goals and those players available. So even if they had Isak right now and they lost all those other players, I would still doubt them to win the league from this point because Isak alone isn't going to be able to do it. So it is about buying reinforcements in January, but there's I think this is multi-layered. But what I don't think should be done by any one individual is lay the blame all down in one area. I think there's a bit of bad luck with the unprecedented nature of so many players getting injured. But you could look at the ball for tempting that fate in January by not bringing anybody in. Ollie Watkins as an example. Could have got that done for 60 million. Then you've got to look at Arteta for overplaying players too much and maybe not pushing the ball hard enough in the summer to buy another forward. I think it's multi-layered here where the blame lies. What I would say to Arsenal, for what it's worth as a rival fan, is this summer you've got to act. You've got to offer. You've got to be big. And the rest of this season now is going to be so hard for them. There was an outside chance of a Champions League because it's knockout football. The better teams in it, barring Liverpool, have not been at the same standard this year. So that opened the door up. There was always an outside chance. But with no attackers, I just don't see, I can't see it. And I do feel like it's a top 4 race for them now. And it's an interesting one. I mean, people won't adjust their expectations on Arsenal. People won't say, well, expectations change in the season when you're pushing for top 4, then you're in a title race. They probably won't do the same thing now for Arsenal, but that's rivals being rivals and haters being haters, so I understand that. But it's a crazy time. And there was a comment that came in through earlier, says Terry is gutted. I am gutted. And I'll tell you why I'm gutted. My football team is crap. My football team is awful. And I get very little enjoyment out of watching them play at the moment, but I'm a Man United fan and I still will. But I work in football. And a big part of my job is watching the top 4 of the title race. I work in football. And yeah, of course I don't want Liverpool to win it. But if you go back and look at the seasons where it was Liverpool versus Man City for the title, I still enjoyed the races. The bit I'm gutted about, and as much as rivals in the moment right now, it's probably fun to celebrate Arsenal's demise. I get it. But it means we have 3.5 months left of a Premier League season that's now dead. There is a top 4 race that involves teams, and I'm talking the top 6 perspective, what I cover. Chelsea fans are disengaged. City fans are disengaged. Spurs and Man United fans are on holiday, by and large. You had Arsenal fans and Liverpool in a title race, and I think that's done now. So from an entertainment point of view, I feel like the Premier League season's over. That is what I'm gutted about. On a real level, I feel like the competitiveness is just gone. Liverpool could lose the next 2 games. I don't think Arsenal got the firepower to win enough matches now to overtake them. So the season is almost futile now. So yes, as a football fan, and as someone who makes content on the Premier League and the title race, yeah, I'm gutted because it's dead. It's over in February, which if you're a Liverpool fan, this is amazing. And I get it. And if I was in a Liverpool fan's position, I'd be buzzing right now because you know you're winning the league from this point. But I will openly admit, of course, as a football fan and as someone who covers every game in the title race, partly my job as well, this is now boring because even if Liverpool lose, there's going to be very little excitement because there's no race. So, yeah, for me, yeah, 100%.
It's not over yet. I think you guys are being dramatic.
No, it's over.
It
is over.
Even if we beat Everton today, can I speak? Even if we beat Everton today, it's still not over. It's still not. Listen, Arsenal are still in a title race. Forest are still in a title race until they're not. That's just the reality. You can laugh all you want. And this whole like doing this whole thing where we just sit up here and go like, oh, we won the league in February. No, we haven't won the league yet. It's still a title race. We have a lot of difficult fixtures left. I'm not going to be celebrating a league title in February. This is just bullshit, to be honest with you. So I'm going to have to wait. Arsenal have a very easy run-in. Even without Havertz, they're expected to beat those teams. Like, they have a very easy run-in. They're playing Leicester, they're playing West Ham. Their only difficult fixtures are really Forest and Anfield. Other than that, like, every single game is winnable. Quite literally, every single game is winnable, even without Havertz, to be honest with you. So what I'm not going to do is sit up here and say title race is done, but it's not. It's not done. And yeah, Sean, it's not all attackers out. Sterling is available, Trossard is available, and who's the other guy? Martinelli is going to be back soon. I think he's going to be back like in a week or a week and a half. And they've got Nwaneri available as well. And there's another guy. There's someone I'm forgetting. I don't know who, but there's someone who as well else who's available. So yeah, they're not all out. We had no fit senior center back, but it's not the same exact example because it wasn't forwards.
Bro, title is over, bro. Just if you lose it from here, it's a massive capitulation from Liverpool, which there is no evidence for me to sit here and say that Liverpool will absolutely fall off like this. Arsenal without Saka, without Havertz, they have no teeth, bro. It's Raheem Sterling and Trossard and a youngster called Issa Nwaneri. So have some shame, Husam, and sometimes just be a man and sit on the stream and say that we're massively favorites. If we don't win it from here, we're bottlers. That is what it is now. You're massively favorites now with these injuries. Are you really gonna not sit here and say you're massively favorites and Arsenal is still in it or Nottingham Forest are in it? Nottingham Forest are not winning the Premier League title. They're behind you by like 9 points, if I'm not mistaken.
And look, the reason I got frustrated at the beginning is because that listen, and I apologize for getting angry at you, Sam. I know we're boys. I know you don't take it personally. I'm so tired of that conversation about Liverpool because it always gets twisted. And it's a bit like when I talk about Pep right now. I haven't expected Pep, with all the problems at City, to go and win the league title. What I've demanded from him is the same standards I'd put on any top manager, any top team, is make a team competitive still. So I have that same energy now for Arsenal. I don't expect them to win the league from this point. They weren't my favourites anyway to win the league this year. City were. Then you overtook that. So they're not even the favourites. But what I still think they should do is make the top four from this point. What they should still do from this point is be hard to beat. They should still win the majority of their games. That, I'm making no excuse for that for Arsenal. If they suddenly lose the next 4 matches, I'm not going to say it's okay because they've got no attackers.
Yeah, like if they lose to Leicester, you won't make excuses.
No, exactly. But that's why the Liverpool example triggers me. Something chronic is because at the time, what the criticism was by and large is, hang on, you're playing centre-backs. You're playing central midfielders as centre-backs, and you've got centre-backs on the bench that you're not playing. Your team's disjointed and getting beat. The second Klopp went back to playing everyone in the right position. So, for instance, if he decides to play Marino as a number 9 and they start losing games, right? Declan Rice is now the 10, right? And Moreno is now the number 9 and they're losing games because the team's disjointed. I'm not going to go, well, that's because of injuries, because what Arsenal do have, and I don't know their names, by the way, I'm not an Arsenal fan, they've got strikers and attackers in their academy that they can use as an example. And I still think you are better off 9 times out of 10 putting square pegs in square holes than taking a player completely out of his position, but then at the same time weakening the midfield, and then weakening what we'll do is we'll put Saliba into the central midfield area, and then we'll move this fullback into this area, and suddenly now the whole team's disjointed. What Arsenal now need to do is play their strongest players in their strongest positions, so they're still a good shape, still hard to break down, still hard to beat, and then sort of hope a little bit that the attackers they've got and a few kids that they should now be given chances to can deliver and get those goals, because that's what they've got. So that's why
all managers do that, though. Like, I'm not even making this an Arteta thing. All managers do that. Like, with the Klopp thing, like, managers will always prefer experienced players over youth. So he went with Fabinho and Henderson at centre-back first, and it didn't work out, and he started dropping points. But even, like, you could see with Pep Guardiola, it's not like he's getting a random DM from the academy. He's playing Kovacic over there. He's playing Rico Lewis over there. Does it cost him in games? Yes, but managers will always prefer experience. Pep Guardiola did the same thing. Arteta this season, playing Partey right back, playing Trossard in the 10 instead of Nwaneri. There's plenty of examples of him not trusting the youth. And when he did trust the youth, like the Lewis Skelly thing, it worked out. But the truth of the matter is, I don't actually criticize Arteta too tough for that, because I think with like all managers, and this is not like and this is not just like a Pep or Klopp or Arteta thing, they always will prefer like experience in different position over the youth. That's
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
there
saying.
are some positions that you cannot play Declan Rice as a striker. You can play Trossard as a striker, Sterling and Nwaneri, but it's impossible to play Thomas
Yeah, but
Partey
Klopp
as a
put
striker.
DM as a centre back. He didn't
But
put a DM as a
okay,
striker.
you're so disingenuous because that always happens in football. Always DMs always play.
That's literally
Hang
my
on,
point.
I've got the same.
That's literally my point.
Hang on a minute. You see what you just did there, though, Sam. You wanted a specific point to your point, but when we asked you a specific question, you went in a different direction.
No, because your specific question has never happened in the history. But what I can have from an example of the past is a example of where a different position was all out till the end of the season and the same grace wasn't given.
No,
So
it's
how
different. Playing, it's different. I'm not going to give you that.
Sorry,
I'm not going to give you that.
Grace by who?
He's wrong, bro. Having a DM playing center back, it always happened in football throughout the history of the sport, starting from Lothar Matthäus back in the 90s, bro. But having a DM or a midfielder or a center mid playing a striker is completely different. I'm sorry.
Who's going to play striker against Leicester?
Hang on a minute.
Who's the winger?
Hang on. Before we go on to
Wingers
that,
playing striker.
Wingers playing.
Sam, before we go on to that, I've seen. Hang on,
normal.
Sam. Before we go on to that, I've seen Michael Carrick play a centre back. Casemiro's played at centre back. I've seen DMs do it. The point is this: when you say no one gave us any grace, us three are talking. So it's us. We're giving our opinions here. Like I gave Liverpool grace. I just criticised the fact that your manager had options that he didn't take. The same as I'm giving the same criticism now to Pep. Pep has had. We saw it last night. Now the injury stopped it. He basically inverted one and put a central defender in midfield, and they look quite good. I know they conceded some early chances, City. Then they look really good. Injuries happened, they fell off a little bit. And I remember City fans telling me for 2 months, "Oh, we can't put any of our centre backs in midfield. This won't work and that won't work." And it was just excuses for Pep. He could have tried it sooner. And I think he kind of stumbled upon it last night. And had Akanji not got injured, maybe the game would have been a little bit different. But that's for later in the show.
Why did Liverpool lose the league last season, Terry? Why? Last season. Forget back in the day. Last season,
combination. Injuries, of course, played a part, which they always do. But I think the biggest reason you guys fell off last year is your manager lost his energy. And it's been a conversation this year of, oh my God, it's embarrassing for the other EPL managers if Slot wins the title in his first season. And I think there's some merit to that claim. I think what it really shows is how much Klopp underachieved last year and how much him losing his energy and focus cost you a potential league title. So as much as, and that's why I would say to Liverpool fans, be careful that narrative you push about Slot showing up the other managers. He's showing up with the exact same squad. How poor a job Klopp also did last year. And of course, injuries played a part. But the issue you've got if you just like focus on injuries stopping you from winning the league, it also becomes the only reason you won the league this year is because Arsenal have got injuries. It isn't, but I'm saying that's why I don't think whenever you're
creating... that's what the Arsenal fans are saying. Like,
yeah, but no, that's what the fucking trolls are saying. Egal. And I don't mean it rudely towards Egal. We're not having that conversation. Forget what idiots say. And I'm not saying the gal's an idiot. I'm talking about the trolls here. Forget their nonsense because that's what they do. Like, let's have a grown-up conversation about this instead of I'm going to tell you what United Trey said or LFC.
Yeah,
Trey
but the reason I'm bringing this up is the energy. Like last season, I just have the stats, right? It's going to take me 3 seconds. Matip, 28 games. Thiago Bacchetić out to the end of the season. Bradley, 27. Tsimikas, 25. Jota, 17. Konate, 16. Jones, 15. Robertson, 15. Gravenberg, 12. Trent, 12. Alisson, 10. Gomez, 6. Salah, 6. Szoboszlai, 6. McAllister, 6. All of these were our injuries last season. And with the VAR stuff as well, last season, Liverpool were factually, not me making stuff up, factually the team done dirty most by VAR. So, and now we're talking about the energy, right? I said last season, Liverpool are the real bottle jobs. Why? Because I didn't say last season that hear me out. I didn't say that injuries and VAR is the reason why Liverpool didn't win the league. And I didn't say Klopp's energy. I said we didn't come into the season preparing to fight for the title. And in the January window, and Mo's my witness and you're my witness, I said we should have strengthened our side. And had we strengthened our side and made signings, we would have ended up winning the league, even with those injuries and those VAR decisions.
Sam, but this is the thing. This is my frustration. We've had these conversations. I know all of this. You didn't blame one thing. Yeah. You were balanced. So that's my frustration. I know you're balanced. You know that I'm balanced, barring a little bit of banter we have. So let's just have a balanced conversation and ignore LFC, AFC, MFC, MCFC, Trey, and all those Twitter bots. Because
No, but I am. That's the final point.
there
I'm
are-
saying right now, would you say the Cronkies and Arteta together, without specifically putting a fault on one, is the main reason why Arsenal in this position? Both of them.
yeah, the
institution, basically.
Of course, they've got to take a bit of blame on that. There's no doubt. So, but then so the players, because I think the players in certain games have missed opportunities to win matches that would give them more points, that would give them more faith at this particular moment.
I agree. Yes, I agree.
This is what I mean by-
Before you go on to the super chat, guys,
This is what I mean by balance. Terry forgets last season our midfield was totally new. Now he's trying to claim Klopp underachieved. But what you're doing, Ola, is you're taking. I didn't just say it was about Klopp, did I? I also mentioned your injuries playing a very big part. You've then brought up the signings were new and time to fit in and blend in. It's also a point. I didn't say Liverpool's failings last year were 100% on Klopp, but that's what your brain has heard because of cognitive dissonance. It's not a balanced conversation that you're having because I never said that.
okay, before we go on to the super chat, Husam, like I really want to understand. So what is your point? Like you said, you're not showing the energy. So I want you to land your point.
Oh,
because
my
I think
point.
I agree with you. Because I think I agree. I think you haven't actually said the statement.
Yes,
yet.
and that's thank you.
That is the problem with this conversation. Yes,
So
the
this
land
is the
now.
plain landing, and I think Mo will agree, and probably even Terry will agree.
Yes, land
You
now.
don't plan to fail; you fail to plan. Arsenal went into the season knowing that Jesus, Sterling, these players are your backup players, right? We already know that. Now, when the season happens, when the transfer window happens, this is where you have the capability of changing your squad. One thing we can blame Arteta for 100% is we know this for a fact with all Arsenal journalists, with him himself, is Havertz is the hill he's willing to die on. He's his starting striker in Arteta's plans. This has been like a public thing. We already know that. That's the reason why they aren't like looking at signing a whatever striker. Like even when you speak to Arsenal fans, they're like, oh, Havertz is going to start. I've had an Arsenal fan tell me Joker is going to be a bench player for Havertz. So I'm looking at the Arsenal season this season, and I think they have failed in the transfer window to address the biggest problem that they have. And had they went out in the transfer window and signed a forward or signed a winger or signed a difference maker, once again, I'll bring up this example because it hurts me just as much as it should hurt the Arsenal fan. Kvaratskhelia moved to PSG for £50 million. That is a player that could play across the front three, difference maker, could have easily signed him. Could have easily signed him because he's an upgrade on all your players. He's better than Saka himself, Kvaratskhelia. That's how highly I rate him. So when it comes to Kvaratskhelia, as an example, that's an example of a player that Arsenal could have signed within FFP means. That's not too expensive. For £50 million. You know, if you called Napoli, gave them 45 and 15 in add-ons as an example, you could have signed him. So when it comes to Arsenal, the overarching perspective is injuries and VAR is not the reason why Arsenal didn't win the league. Same energy for my club last season. The reason why Arsenal didn't win the league is Arteta, board, players underachieving, which I said about my own players last season, Nunes, Diaz, etc. Arteta, in terms of not rotating enough, and Cronkies in terms of not spending money. That's the
so you are saying, so basically I agree with you. If Arsenal don't win if Arsenal in the season trophies, which looks like it, right, as of now, it's a failure of a season, no context added.
100%.
Right. And that is the main point that some of the Arsenal fans don't understand. You comes end of May, 31st of May, Arsenal have not won a trophy, and here we go next summer again. Oh, let's start the next season. You have failed the season, regardless of what happened. Regardless of what happened, you just failed. But many reasons you can say Kroenke is number one, you can say Arteta 2, players 3, injuries, whatever you want to pick. But you cannot just say, oh, context, we just won. We just didn't win a trophy because of injuries. This is what I agree with Husam.
And that's why the Carabao Cup made the blow soften a little bit last year for me. I was like, okay, at least we walked away with something.
I think, listen, I understand that, but I also think there's an element here of chronological order. And I think that Arteta and the summer and everything else, I've already said it myself. I don't need to say it again. But I think they've hung him out to dry this January. And what I mean by that is that people are quite hyperbolic and polarized at the same time when it comes to Arteta. And what I mean by that is people that don't like him all through January, I heard a lot of them say, well, I don't really want him getting any more. I don't want him to spend them to spend any more money on him because I think he's a bust. The problem with that logic is it's now left you in this position. What the club should have done is gone, we're going to buy a forward irrespective of the future of the manager, because the club needs a forward. And that's where I feel like they've hung him out to dry. Whether you think he was going to succeed for the rest of this season or not, you need to always be objective about that. They should have gone out this January and bought someone. So yes, the mistakes were made in the summer by not buying another attacker, but they could have rectified that mistake in January as an example. And that for me is where I don't blame Arteta for January. You've got Moani, who is available on loan, killing it right now, by the way, at Juve. I think 4 goals in his first 5 games as an example. The Ollie Watkins situation was there. Gyökeres had a buyout clause as an example. You know, Villa went and signed players, you know. I'm not saying he's going to maintain it, but Rashford looked really sharp. I don't know if you guys noticed on Sunday. He came on and looked absolute demon. And I think he's going to do quite well there, even if it is only short term. And Arsenal need that right now. So as much as I think in the broader sense, you can say Arteta's wasted some money, he's bottled chances to win other trophies. I don't disagree with some of those things. But this January, that board have hung him and the team and the fans out to dry. It's as simple as that. They had a chance to bring in Ollie Watkins. They bid 40. They said it's £20 million more. And the board said, no, we don't value him at that height. And for me, that now looks like I use this expression a lot. That is a very cheap, but now expensive decision that they have made. That £20 million, I wonder how much that can end up costing them now. Trophies,
yeah, like the Leicester
races,
game. If they have Nwaneri on the right, Trossard on the left, and Watkins up top, you're still gonna go like that's a banging front three. Like
they still win 90% of their games. Just be honest.
Yeah, they still win 90%.
Still win, even at 1-0. Even at 1-0, they'll win that.
And the thing is, the one thing you can't factor out is what this now does for Liverpool. It probably means Liverpool can have a bad period and get away with it.
Yes.
And that's why that signing was necessary, because you don't know what the one thing Arsenal can't control is what Liverpool do. And let's just say Liverpool lose tonight and then lose at the weekend. If they don't have the gunpowder, if they don't have the gunmen, they don't have the shooters to put the ball into the back of the net to win the games, Arsenal, Liverpool dropping points is somewhat irrelevant in their world. So yeah, look, I think there's lots of things to go in here, and I think everyone's going to have a different angle. There's going to be a lot of people that hate Arteta. This is the time to kill him. People that don't like the Cronkies, this is the time to go for them. I think it is a broader conversation. But let's go to some of these super chats to see what the viewers think about this.
That's why I said the institution. Everyone failed.
No, I don't disagree with that, mate. I don't. This here says, Mo, that was just total nonsense that we didn't have injuries from the start. Odegaard, Ben White, Calafiori, Moreno, Zinchenko, Declan Rice all missed games due to injury and illness long before Saka and Jesus' injuries.
But everyone has these small injuries. Even Liverpool had these small injuries and small absence. Konate missed some. Trent missed some. Tsimikas missed some games. Even Jota missed a lot of games. Like, these small injuries, Wayne, like here and there, apart from the Odegaard long miss and the Moreno one, which is you had Declan Rice, you had Jorginho, you have cover for him. These small injuries don't count. Like 1 game here, 2 games here, 1 week here. It happens to even Man United have Maguire miss a week, 2 weeks, De Ligt. Like, these injuries happen. We're talking about the long-term injuries. Someone is out for like 3 months, rest of the season. It happened to Liverpool. Husam can give you, I'm not Husam's lawyer, but I've done a lot of shows with these two. And literally, me and Terry will say that Jota was out for them. You remember, Jota was out for a month and a half. For Liverpool.
Yeah. Jota's been out for a while.
Trent was out for 2 weeks as well.
Trent, Alisson. Yeah.
Yes. Moreno, missed 2 months, as he's saying, but that's not the point. The point is your attackers. You had cover for Moreno. You don't have cover for Saka. That is on the board, Wayne.
Yeah.
Unless, Wayne, I want to ask you one question. Bigger for the super chat. Do you believe if I have all your players fit, looking at the performances this season, you'd have won the league? You would have been ahead of Liverpool now? That's a question you should ask yourself.
There we go. Thank you, Wayne. Ronan here says, everyone else, my mum died. Husam, my laptop died in 2022.
Yeah, but it's not similar. My example was mom died, dad died. That's all I've done. Like, I've just given a similar example to a different position.
You don't you dare smile, Don, is what Nicholas says here. Nicholas,
should I be upset or something? Like, I'm a smiley guy.
Nicholas also says, Don, you jammy bastard. You do feel it. I know that you're not celebrating injuries because I know that's not what you're doing, but there is a part of you that's like, oh, this is good for us. I can see.
No,
course
because we
it's
still
good
need
for
to win
Liverpool.
our games.
Yeah, but it is better for Liverpool today than yesterday. You have to admit.
You guys have known me long enough. You know, it's for me, it's Liverpool versus Liverpool in my mind. We're our own biggest enemy. So
It's so
I
cringy,
just
but
want us
fine.
to win, and we take it from there.
It's cringy.
Today's game is gonna tell me so much. Honestly, we have to win today's game.
So if you lose the game today, you will say like, no, Arsenal are back
Meltdown.
in the title race. Meltdown.
Meltdown.
أي كلام. Okay.
What grace you were creaming every week, Terry? Well, Sean, I know you like to lie on the show a lot, but thanks for paying to lie. Thank you. I've not criticized Arsenal once this season. Tell is right. The season is over. La Liga is heating up.
Big
Yeah,
up Diallo, Barcelona/Arsenal fan.
The season is over. There is still Chelsea in the title in the top 4 race. There is still Man City.
what I mean by over is it's the engagement. And do you know how I can tell is when Chelsea were like winning those 8 games on the bounce, we had to turn Chelsea fans down to come on the shows. Now we're having to beg them to come on, and that's a microcosm of the issue. Right? But that's how you know that fans aren't engaged, which means even if they win a few games, it's like you can see the lack of excitement. And
who are the fans that are most consistent, Terry? To be honest,
the most consistent
fan base that will always show up, win or lose.
On the Man United on the Football Terrace.
Yes,
Man United fans. They're the most consistent. As in the Man United fans that join my match reactions, I'll go match reactions only. The Man United fans that there's a certain percentage of United fans, win, lose, or draw, are there. City fans, honestly, there's a few City. Every fan base has some loyal ones, but Arsenal are pretty consistent. Man United, yeah.
Liverpool.
I feel Liverpool. I feel Husam, Tom, Rax. I feel these guys are very.
I'm talking viewers. You mean content creators?
Yes.
Oh, content creators. Man United, Liverpool.
Liverpool and Man United. Yeah.
And I would Arsenal are fairly consistent in that as well. There are consistent ones like V in a City perspective, very consistent.
Very.
Kate and is very consistent from a Spurs point of view. But like, yes. So I thought you meant
So Chelsea fans, seriously, Chelsea content creators.
Yeah, Chelsea fans are inconsistent. I was there on the Chelsea on the second Chelsea. Who did Chelsea beat game week 2? They lost to City first week, and then they beat someone second game week. I was on the Chelsea match reaction. There was about 9 Chelsea fans on there, and there were new people and new setups and people I've never met before. And all of a sudden, like literally 2 months later, they go on the bad run. I don't see any of them. Like, I just don't see any of them there. I'm like, what the hell? Where are you?
And we have people like Ronan. Like, there's literally fans of every club that are here, win or lose for their teams, absolutely. But I'm talking about the casuals as an example. And I'd say like we have the Football Terrace actually has a large Chelsea subscriber base, but like for about a year and a half they disappeared, as in like the sort of ones that came. And when they started winning those games earlier on this season, they started coming back, and we sort of see them. And it isn't just on the live streams. It was like one guy who made a comment on one of the videos, and I genuinely was like, I forgot you exist. Like, I'm glad you're alive. I haven't seen you for 18 months. And he was like, yeah, I've been busy. Then he was on every show for like 8 weeks, and I ain't seen him again since. But I do get it. But that for me is what I mean by the entertainment side of it. Like, we've created a community, and it's just when there's no title race and when most fan bases are a little bit disengaged, there's less engagement within the community. And it's a little bit, for me, I find it's a little bit more boring. Does that make sense than normal? That's all it really comes down to. That's all it comes down to. And you can tell that because like last night when City lost, there was only like one rival available. And that's because no one's in the mood to banter City because most of them are upset about their clubs. And I enjoy the shows where there's 4 or 5 of us from different clubs and we're, having a bit of fun, a bit serious talk, a bit of fun. And yeah, it just makes it a little bit boring. So yeah, that's what I'm gutted about. And because that's my job. So yeah, definitely. Arsenal will buy more defenders and win. Can you imagine they did that in the summer? A big up, Terry. Hope Arsenal can win something, is what Daily Gooner says here. Ben White has not kicked a ball since September. That's true. And yep. The irony is Watkins is also injured now. Yes, that's true. But I don't know how bad that is. Todd Bowley wants your address so he can send the boys round. I said leave it out, Todd.
Oh, okay. Todd Bowley. Tell him to stop selling tickets to his own fans to £20,000.
Husam, all the games you bottled at the end of last season, you had your whole team available. Palace, Everton, United, West Ham, Atalanta, Villa. Have shame.
Can I defend
That's
Husam here? But
categorically not
Husam
true.
never came on a show last season and said injuries are why we lost the league. He said Nunes, Diaz, one reason. That's number one. He said the board, number two, because they didn't sign a striker. He never blamed the injuries, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I never blamed the injuries anyway, but that's not true what you said in the chat. Like that we had players out injured in every single game. By the way, if I tell you the team that we fielded against Manchester City last season, you guys remember the game that we had against Manchester City, the one that ended 1-1, where Doku did a sweet chin music to McAllister?
Yeah.
Can I just tell you the team? Let me just tell you the team, just so people understand what I'm saying. This is the Alexis McAllister incident, you know, where the one they put it on the PGMOL. This is the lineup we fielded in that game, yeah? Kelleher, Bradley, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, Gomez left back, Soboslai, Endo, and McAllister, right wing Elliott, left wing Diaz, striker Nunes. We had more possession than Manchester City, more shots on target, more everything. That's with Rodri, by the way, and we were robbed at the end of it. Imagine if I applied Arsenal energy to my club. You know, just saying. Do you hear that team? Endo, Harvey Elliott, Bradley, Kwanzaa, Kelleher against Manchester City, Diaz and Nunes. Fuck my life.
Yeah,
Crazy.
And it's funny as well because I think maybe Sam thought I was going to be defending Arsenal. Some people still think I am defending Arsenal. Me stating it's unprecedented for an attack to be out like that, it is. But the point I was actually going to allude to, and I'm saying it now 51 minutes in, that it just people there's, and I'm not saying Sam did this. I think he was thinking more about the Liverpool point of view. People in the audience do it is they get very scared that Arsenal are going to be defended. All I was going to state, and I think I've alluded to it, but maybe not said it in such a direct way, that it is unprecedented, but it's going to be, the situation gets, I want to say exasperated, but that might be the right word. It certainly protrudes and stands out more when you fouled to prepare in the summer and then when you didn't buy in January. Because even if Ollie Watkins had been purchased and then they had these injuries, they'd still be really short and there would still be more of a struggle. But when you don't do enough and then you get a fairly unprecedented situation, it hits you even harder. And I think one of the things that Husam called out about Liverpool is this is his words, we didn't buy enough over the last couple of years. So then you get a bad injury crisis and it hits you even harder. Like Man United right now, if we suddenly got 5, 6, 7 players in the same position up front, we haven't even got 5, 6, 7 attackers. But it's like, well, Jesus Christ, it's not just the injuries that are unprecedented. We don't have a squad for it. So it becomes a bit of double bubble. But people can't wait for you to get to that point because I think you're defending Arsenal. This here says, Sam, what happens if Liverpool don't win the league?
Depends on the context. I mean, if we win the Champions League and the Carabao Cup, I can't say we failed, but it'll be very disappointing right now, to be honest with you. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, does Arteta know how to find good players?
This is a good criticism. AMT, I think, AMT is one of the people, I think even Mo will agree, and Terry, because he's a part like of all three of our communities. He's a balanced guy. Like he's talking about the balance, like balanced opinions type stuff. And I think with like the type of player that they've signed, I don't think Arsenal have made a good signing since Declan Rice. All the others is just like meh, you know, type stuff. Like maybe if an Arsenal fan could go back in time to last summer, they probably wouldn't get Sterling on loan or Merino or Calafiori. They would trust Lewis Skelly a bit more. And then they'd go sign maybe like a forward line player and a winger as an example, you know, just a completely different perspective, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think Calafiori has been bad. Actually, I have defended Calafiori. I wanted Calafiori at Liverpool. I like Calafiori. But I'm saying right now, it doesn't look like it's what they need. You know, Moreno, same thing. I don't know if it's what they need. So, yeah, I think probably should have, you know, gotten different types of players, in my opinion. I think since Rice, they haven't really made a great signing. Because I don't think Havertz has been a success. I don't think any of the other signings they've made have been a success, in my opinion.
I don't think very many managers or head coaches in the modern day world are very good at identifying talent. I don't think it's not what they're trained to do, especially from the continent, because in the continent they've invariably only ever had head coaches. I think that's why you need a great sporting director and a great recruitment team, and they by and large should be identifying the talent and buying it for the head coach, and that's the method that should be used. If you look at Klopp and Liverpool as a standout example, and I hope Husam backs me on this because I know he's backed me privately. When Edwards was picking the players, they had more success than when Klopp was picking the players. And even players that Klopp did pick, it's taken this season and a different sort of coach to look at them and slightly change where he's playing them to get the best out of them. Like Gravenberch could be an example. So I just don't think it's again, if I was owning and running a football club, I would almost make it a blanket rule there that the manager doesn't get to pick the players. He can pick off of a list that we have put together for him because they should all hit a benchmark. But managers picking players should stop. It really, really should in the modern day game, personally.
Look, the biggest failed transfer for Liverpool in the last 4 years is Darwin Nunez. And we signed him just because he scored a goal against us in the Champions League. So that was not analytical.
Yeah, no, I get that. To be honest, Arteta is cooked for using players out of position. Yeah, he does get cooked for that. Absolutely. And I, for one, have cooked him for it. Never seen a fan base so scared. Did Pep so scarred? Sorry, so scared.
Yeah, Pep scarred me.
Did Pep scar you?
PSG, of course.
Of course. By the way, I've never been like the type of guy to deny this. I completely, like, genuinely, PTSD is real. It's like asking Terry to go like, Man United are favorites in the 2011 Champions League final after what happened in 2009. Like, he would have been scared playing Barcelona. It's normal. Like, I'm worried right now. Of course I am.
I'll come back to the Man United stuff a little bit later. We have had some super chats about it. Arsenal isn't serious when they need players. No, I totally agree. I totally agree that they should have gone and done something in January. I mean, I said it after the end of the January window. I said it was an abomination. And it wasn't just them, but I called them out on it. And of course, all I ever do is gaslight and lie to Arsenal fans and tell them how they're brilliant. The Arsenal fans that subscribe to the Terrace know that's not true. Maybe try tuning into more of the content and you hear more about it. Don't just tune in on the days where I am praising them when they deserve to be praised. It's a weird thing to do. Why can't Arteta have a list too? Well, he can. He can have again, there's nothing wrong with a manager again. I really like these players, and then the club scouts them, but they should have to go through a rigorous due diligence process by the scouting team, and then by the head scout, then by the sporting director. And if they meet the threshold that team deems, and by the way, that's got to be a really good team. If that's a crap team, it becomes a futile exercise. If that player meets the threshold, then go with the manager's choice. But if they don't, you tell the manager. If you look at some of the players, I know that's quite a famous story. Who is it that Klopp wanted instead of Mo Salah and sorry, say it again.
Brandt and Götze instead of Salah and Mane, basically.
Exactly. So that's, I mean, and that's just an example. Imagine FSG said, "Okay, Klopp, you'd have got a Götze who literally, like, his career tapped out at about 24, like really, really young. And Julian Bland's a good player, but he is no Mo Salah, and he's
not Mane or Salah. Yeah,
exactly. So the point I'm making is there needs to be a balance in that as an example. Wayne's back with us again here. He says, so Husam, don't buy Calafiore and rely on an 18-year-old. Then Zinchenko, Ben White, and Tomiyasu all injured for significant time, leaving Timber the only other fullback who just returned from an ACL.
Wayne, I have a perfect response to this. You know who did this? Liverpool Football Club. We didn't sign a backup to Trent. The backup to Trent is Connor Bradley, my brother. We're having McConnell play significant minutes, Harvey Elliott play significant minutes, Curtis Jones playing significant minutes. So I'm not showing a different energy than the one I showed my club. Did I ever ask, Terry and Mo will vouch as well, for a backup right back? I've never asked for one. I wanted forwards, starters who improve our team significantly. Mo knows all along I'm a massive fan of Gareth Kelly. I wanted him. I wanted Osimhen. I wanted Tony. I wanted Isak. I wanted any forward line player. I wanted a DM, a starting DM, Zubimendi. Everyone remembers the rant. So I'm not showing different energy. As a matter of fact, with Arteta coaching Lewis Skelly, seeing the talent there, would Calafiore have made sense? No. Because then you go like, okay, now I've got this Lewis Skelly kid who could play left back, and I've got Timber. Perfect. I've got Ben White on the right-hand side and Tomiyasu. Okay. I've got the two center backs. Maybe you could have signed like one center back who could play right back type thing. I get that. So you'd have one there. But then after that, you would go sign forward line players who make your immediate first 11 better. That's where the difference lies.
I don't understand Dwayne, to be honest. What is your super chat saying? That your summer window is good for you? Is that, I don't get it. Like, what is the reason for this super chat? Means that you're happy with the summer transfer window. and you planned Calafiori because you have Ben White and Tomiyasu injured now.
No. I don't think it means that at all because Wayne super chats a lot. So Wayne super chats a lot, and Wayne will probably confirm this. And I've had this conversation with a few Gooners. I don't think signing Calafiori and Moreno as in themselves was a problem. They needed to do that and
Plus
sign, and I think that's the issue here with a lot of the conversation when it comes to Arsenal. Like we said earlier, the Arsenal conversations always seem to sort of meander into should have done X or should have done Y. When actually, no, they should have done both. I often feel they should have done both of those things. And it's all Arteta's fault. No, I think the board have got to blame here as well. It's all the board's fault. No, I think Arteta's got some blame here. The conversations always become very polarized when it comes to Arsenal. It's either this problem or it's that problem. And like I said the other day, I actually changed it. Ash called me out on it, and I think he was right. I don't think Kai Havertz has been a good signing because of how much they're paying per week and what they're trying to do. But they found a role for him that he does a good job in. He does a good job as a backup striker. You've now seen the reaction to him going out Indian, and it shows you he's a good player. Otherwise, you really wouldn't care. But what they need is someone ahead of him that's much better. And then you wouldn't notice his flaws as much because somebody's ahead of him as an example. And I just think that that's what Arsenal fans need to be demanding from their club. It's great. We've got Calafiori, but where's the striker as well? Not, we'll take Calafiori away and give me a striker, because then this super chat becomes right. Then they would have been relying on an 18-year-old who turns out is good enough, but they didn't know at the time if an 18-year-old midfielder could be very good at left back. So they just need more.
Go ahead. Go ahead. There is a super chat that we'll go back to it when the next super chat comes in. Go ahead.
He better not because he doesn't have talent ID, is what AMT says.
By the way, that is completely wrong, AMT, because Ben White, Timber, I believe David Raya, he signed good players, by the way. So it's not Declan Rice. He signed good players. So it's not only Odegaard. Isn't Odegaard he's signing? Like there are a lot of other players.
And by the way, what proves my point regarding the forward line players, I think even Arteta himself wanted Nico Williams this summer. Remember?
We'll go back to it. Watch this super chat.
My problem is, and by the way, I cuss my own club out for this. Okay, so Nico Williams says, no, I want to go to Barcelona. Why do you just give up on the whole concept of signing a left winger?
So here is the problem. What you guys didn't understand Husam's point, which is, I think Terry didn't understand that point, is Husam is saying, if you had to choose between strengthening your back line last summer and going and spending the money for the forward line, I would have chosen to go. And that is based on your words, Arsenal board, saying that we don't have the funds to do both.
Instead of strengthening a backup left back, strengthen a starting forward.
Thank you. My point. Diallo, I don't think you guys understood. Wayne defended Calafiori. I'm not against Calafiori. I thought that Calafiori is a very good signing, Diallo and Wayne, and all the Arsenal fans. I like Calafiori. Some wanted Calafiori at his club.
By the way, I like Calafiori as well, but more explain.
But the problem is, go ahead. But the problem is, guys, if Arsenal had to choose between strengthening with Calafiori or go and signing another forward, if it was me, I'm an Arsenal fan, I would said, no, please leave Calafiori to be the last priority, because we still have a back line, and go sign a forward. The thing about it is that you prepared for Tomiyasu and Ben White's injury, but you never prepared for the forward line injuries. People don't understand. I'm not saying that Arsenal have to choose, but that's what happened in the summer. In the summer, you did strengthening the midfield and the back line, and you didn't strengthening the forward line. So now we're talking in hindsight. That's what people don't understand. It's hindsight talk. That you're only strengthening two lines, that I would think that probably the forward line were more pressing, that you needed to strengthening that. You guys don't understand. You absolutely guys don't understand. And by the way, I have to admit, some Arsenal fans know exactly what I'm talking about and know exactly my point, but you guys are choosing not to listen. You guys are choosing not to listen. You guys are talking now in hindsight because Ben White is injured and Tomiyasu is injured. But you never talk in hindsight that Saka is injured, Jesus is injured, and Havertz is injured. It's the same.
And actually, Mo, sorry, as I was just filling up my water bottle, I think we can use... Your voice went. I think we can use Liverpool as the example again. Liverpool right now need a backup left back, right? would I rather sign a starting DM or a backup left back? A starting DM. I'm not like, I get you guys' perspective, and me and Mo have both reiterated we both like Calafiori. We both think Calafiori is a good signing, but we're talking about actually strengthening in the subject of winning. You get what I'm saying?
Some people are just weird, bro.
Yeah,
Some people are just strange, bro. You guys
by the way,
refuse
me
to
and Mo,
really
very
listen.
positive.
It's very
pro
annoying,
Arsenal, very
bro.
positive on Arsenal. Like, we're not one of the people who criticize Arsenal all the time. Like, we've actually been very constructive with Arsenal. I said in the summer, this is something that got me cooked by Arsenal fans and by Liverpool fans and by City fans. I said that Arsenal are going to win the league. I said Moreno was a good signing, etc. But all along, me and Mo expected Arsenal to go sign an Osimhen,
Bro, it's
go sign a
annoying.
Kvara, hell, even sign a Tony, sign someone like that. Like, that's the thing. Like,
I will even make it way less simple for you. I'm going to give you 3 scenarios, and I'm really going to tell you. The first scenario, which is the right one, you sign Calafiori, you sign Moreno, you sign the forward and a left winger. That's the first scenario. That would have been the perfect summer for Arsenal.
Perfect summer.
But your club didn't do this, right? So the second option would be strengthening the midfield and sign a forward. And the third one would have been Arsenal sign a midfielder and a defender and ignore the forward line. That would have been my third choice. Your club fucking did this.
That's the point.
Hope
you guys get us now. We're not attacking your club.
That's the real quiz. That's the real quiz.
Yeah, we're doing priorities, mate.
No, listen, very quickly, if there was a choice, Calafiori or an attacker, I'm picking an attacker in the summer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
Again,
saying.
Oh, Terry always glazes Arsenal. No, that's
How much did they sign Calafiori for? Wasn't it 40?
Something like that. Yeah.
10 million more Osimhen through the door. Done.
Thank you. But no, bro, it's jarring, to be honest. The people
As a matter of fact, I'll make it even easier for you. Same exact summer you had, but instead of getting Sterling on loan, you could have had Osimhen on loan.
That's it. Perfect summer.
Arteta got Calafiori and Moreno because of Partey and Zinchenko's injury concerns. Why not in attack? That's why I'm pissed. And I hear you, MT.
Thank you.
Yeah, and in reality, I don't think there is a choice because you guys look very, very comfortable with PSR, so you could have done more. So I don't think in reality, I don't think the choice even exists. I think you could have just done more personally. What Arsenal did, and look, I thought he'd be better this year. I think Arsenal put a lot more stock in Martinelli, getting back to the levels of 2 seasons prior, and it just didn't happen. Arsenal fouled from the top to the bottom this season. Martins, I think you're spot on when you say that. There's no doubt. And listen, this isn't about Arsenal fans fighting each other and trying to point score on their little Arteta in, Arteta out wars. This is about just being honest about the situation. And yeah, some people I see basking in this. They're almost happy that it's going on. Let them be. It should be a minor in terms of how you think and feel about this situation. John Bones Jones says a doctor on AFTV even said as we're flying when in the red zone is dangerous too, as it aggravates injuries. Now all those players clocked 12 hours. Yeah, look, and if there's a player in the red zone, so if it turns out that Kai Havertz was in the red zone and then they put him on an aeroplane for 12 hours and then that hamstring's gone, that is gross negligence of the highest order. And whoever's made that decision, their head should roll. In the medical team, whoever has signed that off and said it will be okay, their heads have got to roll. That if it's true that he's in the red zone. If he wasn't in the red zone and they did all the tests and he was amber or even better green, and then it's happened, then it's a fluke. But anyone who's made that journey in the red zone, that's crazy. But wasn't it a choice either or? And no, I wouldn't sign Osimhen even for a Cadbury's chocolate bar.
Even Terry will back me on this. If you wouldn't have Osimhen even for a Cadbury chocolate bar, then don't come and complain that Sterling is going to be your starting striker. You can't have your cake and eat it. Am I right?
I hear that.
Yes.
We're going to come back to some more title race stuff later on the show where we'll include Arsenal and that in the conversation. So stay with us and hit the like and the share button. But I was very annoyed this morning. I released a really good video where we were cooking Man City, and I released it, and 2.5 minutes later, Ornstein dropped the bomb that Kai Havertz was out. So unfortunately, that became the focus of everybody. But obviously, it was a very bad night last night for Manchester City on multiple levels, really. Obviously, they're having a terrible season. They've obviously got the hope that they can win this, and that was very much dashed. They took the lead twice in the game, and they collapsed again at the death. They picked up more injuries. There's concerns that the new signings are nowhere near ready yet. And I can't wait to get Mo's opinion on this. Mamouche is getting a lot of stick, even from City fans early on. You had Nico Gonzalez that bottled it against Leyton Orient, pretended he was injured, just to like sit on the bench yesterday. There's players that are just no longer. I think a lot of City fans last night realized actually we've been backing Rico Lewis this whole time, but there's a problem. Pep still can't make them that competitive. They still look so weak when anybody attacks them. And they look, at least for the rest of this season, they look absolutely finished in every single conceivable way, really. So I want to get the panel's thoughts. But
before
also
I speak on City, can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
Can you admit you're wrong about Real Madrid in the knockout stages? Because I told you they're different. Do you see like that animal-like nature? It only comes out. We'll
come back to that one in a minute because I want to play something right now. It's just processing. It's almost ready to go. But I want the panel's view and I want the viewers on City. Are they finished this season? Is there a way back? And there are some people now, and we had this on the match reaction show last night, claiming that maybe even next year, maybe this is City will be better, but maybe there's a new normal for City. Maybe they're never going to be that outstanding team that completely and utterly dominates week in, week out, as we've seen before. So I want to get your views and I want to get your opinions on that. I'm not too sure why the video is still processing because I forgot to upload it earlier. So I am longing this out so that I'm ready to press play, but I'm pretty good at doing that normally. If you haven't hit the like button yet today, by the way, make sure you get that done. If you haven't subscribed yet today, make sure you get that done because we want to get your opinions on this below. But take a look at this.
We have Real Madrid exactly where we want Real Madrid to be.
A few moments later.
Well done. You can't go 10 minutes without a bozo, can you?
Crumble.
You can't go 10 minutes, 10 minutes without a bozo. You can't do it.
From Leyton Orient, we've given it away in midfield here. What are we doing? Brahim Diaz he's down the line to Vinicius Junior. It's saved by Edison. It's going to be on the rebound. It's 2-2. About with it in midfield again, man. And it's Brahim Diaz who's come back to haunt us, man.
Bozo. They've just got the bozo gene, man. I don't even know who fucked that one up. Edison, well done, lad. You've had a cracking game, Edison.
Yes! Brahim Diaz, shut up, man. Celebrate, man.
How many times tonight have they given the ball away in dangerous areas? Here's Vinicius Junior has a shot, good save there from Edison in the rebound. And they all come from City giving the ball away.
Oh no! Oh yes! Oh yes! 2-2.
We have
Vinny's in. Edison's in no man's land. And it's 3-2.
Crumble.
That's Manchester City out of the Champions League.
Oh! Bellingham! Bellingham! 3-2! Come on! Bellingham, I take it back! I take everything back!
So I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
You're not allowed to say anything bad, innit? Don't say anything bad, guys. Don't say anything bad. You're not allowed to say anything bad against this team.
Vinny! Jude! 3-2! 3-2 Madrid! Madrid strike in the 92nd minute! Jude Bellingham!
10 minutes, that's all you have to do. 10 minutes. That's City out of the Champions League. If you think we're going to bat a bird of our winning, then you can, no chance, yeah? That's us out. Well done. Another crumble.
Oh, Rico's committed. Vinicius Junior's out. And Edison, it's Jude Bellingham and he's made it 3-2. I can't believe this
Crumble.
I can't believe this I'm watching. The absolute moronic defending at the back there. It's a laughing stock. It really is, man.
Angelotti raised the eyebrow!
Crumble.
It was another mad meltdown for City last night. They are finished, aren't they? At this particular moment in time, they are such a bad football team, Husam.
I could do the Ancelotti eyebrow raise as well. Listen, I just want to say 15 seconds about Real Madrid and then I'll make everything about City. There's a reason why I wanted City to win yesterday. These guys scored 3 jammy goals. My last hope of Madrid getting knocked out the groups, the Champions League is Visca Barcelona. You get me? Barcelona, you're our only hope. Please draw them and kick them the fuck out because bad enough for Madrid. Now, when it comes to Man City, I've never seen a football club dominate Madrid and lose like this. You know, it's just so shit the way that they conceded the goals. It's actually laughable. It's genuinely laughable. None of you, both of you, can't convince me that any of the 3 Madrid goals are like, wow, what an amazing passage of play there. It wasn't nothing like that. Like, it was all just so dog shit. Like, the first one, City failed to clear, like, literally from I think it was either a foul or a goal kick. And Mbappe has a scuff volley that ends up in the back of the net. The Brahim Diaz goal is literally Ederson rebound, and everyone just sat there watching. And the last goal is Rico Lewis and Kovacic just messing around. You can't, like, there is something in this team that you just can't explain. And I think Pep and Manchester City have a rebuild on their hands. They truly do. Now, the one thing about City is, and I do have to give them credit for that, I do think that they are probably the best run club in the world in terms of, okay, they've seen that this team is not good enough and they've started the rebuild early. Now, one of the parts and parcels of a rebuild is it's not going to pay its, you're not going to, you know, how can I say, bear its fruit directly. You know, so maybe a Nico Gonzalez and a Kusanov and whoever will be amazing a year from now. I don't know, but it's going to take them time. But when it comes to the game yesterday, look, it's funny because my BN satellite was not working. And I brought in the BN satellite guy to come and fix it. He's a Real Madrid fan. And he was like, you know, with Man City, the one thing I like is they're not like Atletico and they're not like not Barcelona. They're not like Atletico and they're not like other clubs. Like, they're not just going to park the bus and defend. And I was thinking to myself, maybe if City actually parked the bus and defend, it would have been better for them. Like, if they had like a Marmoush and like a Haaland on halfway line and tried to counterattack, maybe they would have had better results, if you would like. But what people fail to mention as well, like with this whole like Rodri being injured, is Real Madrid had to play Asensio and Chouameni at centre back. So there was a chance for City to actually knock out Real Madrid, and I wanted City to win, but they messed it up. And it's a combination of things. And you know, sometimes maybe we're a bit too specific. It's not just Pep by himself. It's not just the players by themselves or Cheeky or whoever. I think it's a combination of things. But yesterday, it's just so many individual errors. I think sometimes in football, we ignore the mental element of the game. I think they're just mentally shot. I think they've just given up on this whole season. I'll be so honest with you. Like, even in the FA Cup, they were 1-0 down to Leyton Orient. And, you know, I can come up here and go, oh, Sam, you lost to Plymouth. Yeah, okay, but we literally had all our bench. Like, Pep brought on KDB against Leyton Orient to win the game, a game of football, which should never be the case. So I think still City need to make a lot of changes, but I do expect that they will come back next season and win the league again, in my opinion. But
no, they won't. No,
they are in a very difficult position.
No, they won't. Not with Marmoush, not with Kozanov.
Top 5.
Not with Marmoush, not with Kozanov, not with Savinho, not with Doku, not with these guys. Couple of things yesterday from the game. John Stones, again, he is proving my point. Surprise, surprise. Mo said that 2 years ago. John Stones is a midfielder. He played very well, as Terry alluded in the very beginning of the show. He's a midfielder. Once he dropped to the defense, he's not good enough. As a defender, he was never a great defender. Ricky Lewis is so overrated. As a youngster, he's not good enough. There is a lot of City players. Actually, surprised Jack Grealish played well before he got injured, unfortunately, for him, to be honest. Gvardiol is an attacker. He's not a defender. And Marmoush might not suit Manchester City at all, by the way. It might be a waste of £70 million spent on him because he doesn't suit the
only thing I agree with you on.
Like, it might be a waste of over 70 million. There is one more thing. Actually, Real Madrid peppered Man City goal yesterday. It could have been 6, by the way. City didn't dominate. The fact that City had 50-something% position, that is not an indication of the chances of the game. Real Madrid had the majority of the chances in this game. It shows in all the stats, and also it shows if you see the Ederson performance yesterday. His performance, he saved a lot of goals from Man City, to be honest. He saved a lot of goals for Man City. I think Manchester City can go to Real Madrid and win, actually, in my opinion. Munich were a whisker, like seconds away from winning at Madrid, if you guys remember that. If Pep Guardiola is not stubborn, and if Pep Guardiola goes to Real Madrid and play the same way he played last season, 2 seasons ago, I can explain it before you laugh. Man City went to Real Madrid and changed the way they play. They didn't dominate. They defended, as you said, Husam. They parked the bus. They played counter-attacking football. If Pep goes to Madrid and try to defend, right, like what Bayern did, I think he can snatch a 1-0. You have to remember that with all the Madrid chances, they scored 2 goals because of 2 mistakes from Man City. These mistakes don't happen if Man City park the bus, if Man City try to defend a little bit deeper. So I still think this tie is wide open. Real Madrid don't have a defense, basically. They have Tchouameni and Asensio. And I believe Man City can actually hurt them on the counter-attack, in my opinion. 1 goal margin, being away from home.
There's no away goals rule, so that's maybe one thing.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter if you win 1-0, 2-1, or 3-2. It doesn't matter. At the end, Man City can go and try to win 1-0 or 2-1. They can do that, right? If people don't believe that, you don't believe in that Pep Guardiola can do this. I literally believe that Pep Guardiola can go and change the way he plays and win with a 1 goal margin. This tie is not as over as LB is saying. If Pep Guardiola goes there and open up and try to press, they might get beat like 3-4, in my opinion. So I know people think it's doom and gloom, but you will come back here and say if Pep defends and win 1-0 or 2-1, that yes, Mo, you said so. I believe that Man City still can hurt them. The defense is wide open. They played Valverde as a right back. He's a midfielder. They played Tchouameni as a midfielder, as a right back, as a centre back. So I believe City can still win, by the way.
Yeah, they did that. And the opening goal for City was amazing. Outside of that, they created nothing. Nothing. And although people were saying that Madrid's goals were lucky, Madrid opened them up 5, 6, 7 other times and should have been leading. I just don't see. The reason I say the City team right now looks finished or is finished, and it's going to take a while for them to come back, is purely and simply because they just look. There's no togetherness. They're not compact enough. They don't want to run. They're caught out of position. They're so easily run through. And they've gone and bought 4 new players, but I don't see those 4 players clicking this season. I really don't. I think it's going to take them a while to settle in and finish. And that's even if they're of the standard of the people that they've replaced. I just feel this season, City are finished. They may win the FA Cup depending on the draw. If they keep getting draws like they've had now, then maybe they'll go on to win it. But I feel that as soon as they come up against a Newcastle, a Villa, or a Bournemouth, especially if they play any of those teams away in the next round, because they'll beat Plymouth. They'll be out of that as well. They just don't. I don't even think they have the mental strength. They score a goal, and
This is a chance for you to win it, actually, Terry. Man United.
Yes, but no. Listen, Newcastle, Villa, Forest.
If you get through Fulham, which I think is a tough fixture, depending on the draw, you never know. But a club like Villa and Newcastle, very strong in the league, very difficult. But maybe at Wembley they don't have the cojones yet for it. It's too big for them.
Maybe, and it depends. And what you might find. Listen, I don't know what I'd rather, to be honest with you. A few of them teams might knock each other out in round 6, and in the semi-finals maybe. But Man United are not the favourites, and the bookies will probably have us or City as favourites. But I think that's really disingenuous. I look at Forest, I look at Villa, I look at Newcastle. I mean, us playing Brighton. Brighton have beaten us in the last 4 matches, so I can't go into any of the games against those teams with any real confidence. Even Fulham at home, I'm not confident we beat them. Our home level of performances is so poor. Yes, we've won 6 of our last 10 games, but it's the performance levels that are not there. So I'd love us to win it. I don't have any confidence that we can. I really, really don't.
Is it the quarterfinals now or what?
No, it's the last 16 essentially. Yes, the last 16.
Oh, so the quarterfinals is the game after.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
there's still a lot of easy games left. Possibly you still got Villa, Cardiff, Forest, Ipswich, Palace, Millwall, Newcastle, Brighton, Bournemouth, Wolves, Preston, Burnley, City, and Plymouth. Obviously,
but that's our chance. For instance, say we do beat Fulham, and then we get either Preston or Burnley at home in the quarterfinals, the 6th round, and then you end up with, I don't know, Millwall in the semi-finals. we might make a final. But I think if we go away to Bournemouth in the next round, we're out. We go away to Newcastle in the next round, we're out. You know, we play Brighton away in the next round, we're out. I cannot. I'd actually rather City away than any of those teams. I think we've got more chance beating City away than those sides. One, we've done it, and City aren't very good themselves. They've got problems like we have, so it makes it a bit of a. Yeah, I don't put us in the top 5 favourites to win that tournament.
But if you win it, you have a better season than Arsenal, like always.
Yes.
Here we go again.
I'd love to win it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to win it.
We've done this literally 3 years in a row, you guys. Come on. Come on. The guy's not fucking bored of it, honestly.
I actually think at this time, it doesn't matter where Man United finish, and because Arsenal have been here for 5 years, it is not about progress for Arsenal. It is about now winning the trophies. You said that. It's about winning the trophies. If Man United 3 years running, right, win trophies and Arsenal don't, it's not about progress anymore. It is about winning the cups. I don't believe Man United are fucking winning. Man United will be out versus Fulham. We know that.
I think this could be a scenario where it's like a Newcastle Aston Villa final type thing.
Yeah, we know that. Newcastle Cup double. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Easy
as long as Mohamed Salah wins something else.
On City, Mo, I want to ask you about City quickly before we move on. What have you made of Mamouche's first 4 games?
He started very well when Pep Guardiola played him like on the counter-attack, and then he's about to like, yeah, you go and do what others do. Like, I think he's going to be ruined at City, to be honest with you. I'm so disappointed that he joined Manchester City. He doesn't suit the system. I'm glad that he joined to be coached under Pep Guardiola. Can Pep change him? I don't think so. I think he's 26 already, bro. Like, he's not going to mold him to be a position-based player. I'll be very surprised, to be honest. I would have liked him to join Liverpool or Arsenal or Chelsea or a team that plays more sometimes on transition. Like, I don't think he suits Messi. 70 million for
Marmoush
someone.
suited Newcastle like a glove, by the way.
Yeah, bro. Imagine Marmoush playing on the right side, Gordon on the left, Isak in the middle on the transition. That would have killed a lot of team. But the problem is now, and I'm afraid for the guy, to be honest. I don't know. I know, even by the way, even when I speak to Nobbins, to be honest, Nobbins is like, it is all about, can Pep adapt to him or he adapts to Pep? What is more likely to happen? None of the above. None of them. Like, you're not going to get a 26
like,
years
this is
old.
not an insult to the guy. I just don't think he's a Pep style of player. Like, he's just really not. Like, he's just a direct winger, just completely different to what they have. Like a winger / forward who scores goals. Like, he would have been perfect for a Klopp system. He would have been good for Slot. He would have been good for Newcastle. I think he probably would have been a little bit good for Arsenal as well in terms of like on the counter, scoring goals. Work rate is good. Pace is good. Power is good. So I think that's the thing. But I think City need a different type of winger.
I don't know why. And that's the problem, Terry. Like, when you do a rebuild for City, if Pep Guardiola is only signing
and Haaland has a 9.5-year contract. It's not like Marmoush will ever take his position in striker.
Exactly.
Anyway.
The other problem is Pep only has 2 years to work with these guys, right? 2 years only to work with these guys. So the rebuild is like, don't they need like established players? Like someone that is fitting the system right away?
Fantastic point in the chat. Big up Rajveer. Sane was a direct winger under Pep. Thank you for proving my point. I love people like you. So how long did Sane and Pep last together? 1 year? Big up.
Like, I'm not sure. Eddie here is saying 59.9 million. Okay, 60 million pounds. Okay, potato, doesn't matter. Okay, that.
I told
10
you
million mixed.
Tomato, not potato, because no one says potato.
There's a lot of people that say potato.
How am I teaching you English when you're the American? It's crazy.
Okay.
Mamouche was 59.9 million, mate. Too quick to judge.
It's not too quick to judge, my man, Eddie. It's all about the signs, right? We see the signs. A player that, as Husam said, plays on the transition as a second striker. Now, Pep is asking him to play on the wing in a position-based team. So at the current moment, it doesn't look like it's going to work. If it works, I'll be surprised, to be honest. If this was, and I don't want City fans to come 2 years from now and say, but he won a treble with us. Well, no, it's not about that. It's about, is the player getting...
Is a treble winner. How many times you heard that?
Exactly. Really, she won a treble with us. Did it work? Did it actually work? The £100 million move for him. Like, have some shame.
This here says, In very un-Madrid fashion, Real Madrid have bottled every single big game this season without foul. Fortunately, they run into the ultimate bottlers, Man City. Do you know what I like?
Imagine I told you that someone would send a super chat about City like this a year ago.
Do you know what I like about it though? And I'll be honest, and I'll be shameless about it. And you can call it an agenda. It is, I suppose, but not an agenda where I'm going to lie. But it's the first time Pep has stayed in one club for a prolonged period of time. And every other manager that has stayed in one club for a prolonged period of time has gone through periods where the win percentage takes a knock. You get heavy defeats like the 5-1 against Arsenal. You have embarrassing times in Europe. That's why when people compare him and Fergie, I've always found it a little disingenuous, because you're comparing someone who has typically jumped from big club to big club. Nothing wrong with that. That's a sign of a great. Gone into teams that have been champions fairly recently and helped them maintain that status, as opposed to staying with those clubs through the ups and the downs. And he's never done it in a league like the Premier League, where there are other teams that have money, and he did a brilliant job. And you're now seeing him get results. Fergie got spanked a few times in the Premier League after making United champions, as an example. We had some bad seasons in Europe. And if he stays here for another 15 years, he'll probably have another 2 or 3 periods where this happens to him as well. And I just think it goes to show that, again, if Fergie had also left, by the way, Man United in 99 and gone to someone like a Juve and done 3 or 4 years there and won the leagues 3 or 4 times in the Champions League, then left and went to Real Madrid for 4 or 5 years and won 3 or 4 Ligas and another Champions League, then went to AC Milan and won the Champions League and a few more Serie A's, he might have more Champions Leagues. He might have, oh, look, he went and did it in all these places. And there is merit in people saying that makes him the GOAT, and I understand it. But there's also merit in staying. The reason why I remember Pep saying the hardest thing he's ever seen someone do is, Fergie, stay somewhere for a quarter of a century. How do you do that? It's maintaining your composure, your professionalism, your hunger during these moments. It's very easy for a manager to go, I've just lost faith. I'm just going to leave and take a rest, because it's exhausting. And I always say about Pep, I'll never play down his greatness. He is one of the greats. There's no doubt about it. He's amazing. But I do like the fact this is going on for him, because it helps in the nitpicking between the best. When it comes to all the greatest, he's got a period now that we can focus on and go, well, I remember when this happened. I remember when that happened. I remember when this went wrong. What did he do? And that's the biggest criticism I've got of him in this period. He has not, for like 4 months now, 5 months now, made them consistently competitive, which is crazy, which I expect the GOAT to be able to do. Find a system that finds some way of making yourselves competitive. He hasn't been able to do that. And by the way, he hasn't taken over a broken club. This is a team that was considered the best in the world 9 months ago. So, you know, someone will go, Amorim hasn't done that with United, but he's taken over a broken club. If Pep took over Man United, I would not expect him to make us brilliant and competitive within 3 months. I just wouldn't. So, yeah, I'm loving it. I'm not going to lie. It's brilliant. But nothing to do with City, more to do with Pep and Fergie. I may be joking, but do you think Arteta has PTSD? When under Wenger as a player, Arsenal defensively were piss poor.
No, I think the game that changed him was City 4-1 at the Emirates, because ever since then he's been defensive.
He's not that defensive, bro. He's not that defensive. The problem is he wants to sign more defenders, but he's not that defensive, though. Arsenal averaged more than 60% ball position in the league, bro. Husam, like, have some. Arsenal went to the San Siro and tried to attack. Arsenal went to PSG. Like, sometimes,
yeah, but when you go to the San Siro and face Inzaghi, like, that's the king of defense right there. Like,
I think we'll have to see in the Champions League if Arsenal go to Champions League game away, for example, against Bayern or against someone, and they try to defend. Now we will know that he's a defensive coach. I don't think he's a defensive coach, to be honest. He knows how to set up an attack. The problem is I don't think he has the tools. Kai Havertz, Martinelli, and these guys are not.
Yeah. Josh here says, if we beat Fulham, don't hide like last time, Mo.
But if you lose Joshua, if you lose to Fulham, inshallah, I will be on the match action depending on the circumstances. But I'm expecting a super chat from you saying that you were wrong and I was right.
I reckon City are rebuilding for the manager after Pep leaves. The signings are making a show for this. That's a fair point there, Samuel, to be fair.
Probably.
Diallo says Arsenal's blanket is always short. They chose to cover their feet instead of their head. Stupid decision, and now they are suffering from hypothermia.
Diallo, you agree with us then? You
You agree with us, then. So we've come full circle, and you agree with our initial point.
At the end, you agreed with us.
Guys, because I don't want to run out of time, it does agree with you in the end. I want to. There's a story today that lots of the players in the dressing room are not happy with the system that Amorim is implementing, and they want him to change this. What's your take on this? Because some people are suggesting he's lost the dressing room. We've put that in the title. That's a suggestion. Others are saying that those players should all go. Some are suggesting that the story is just there to add more toxicity to a club already in troubles. Some are saying it's leaks. Some are saying the leaks aren't true. The media are making it up. What do you boys think? Do you think that...
Let me just put this straight, okay? And excuse my French. If you don't like the system, fuck off. It's time for Man United now to just get a backbone for once in their life. Stop getting this player power bullshit. Whichever player doesn't like the system, the door is open. Close the door on your way out. Take any teammate with you that doesn't like the system. Like if I'm in Ineos's place, I got Ruben Amorim. I want him for the long term. This is gonna be the system. This is the system we're gonna play. Either adapt or piss off. End of discussion. All this doing like, oh, I don't like the way that we play. Okay, no problem. Open the door, leave, and then someone else will
can do that. Only Terry can tell us if they can do this or not. If Man United have the financial power of Chelsea when they first bought by the new owners, I would say what Husam is saying is 100% the ideal solution. But if Man United don't have the financial power to replace all these players, at the end, players win. That's at the end. Reality is, if Ineos have the guts, have the money to go and replace Maguire, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Dallo, Bruno Fernandes, all the players, I'm just stating names, that don't agree with the system, yes. Buy him the players he wants. Tell all these players. Get him what he wants. But if Man United don't have the money, he has to go. Because you can't be losing the dress.
Well, yeah, look, I agree with that in the sense of if they're not going to give them, if they're not going to build a squad that the manager's capable of getting the best out of, there's no point in having him. I've got the same energy for that as I do with Big Ange at Tottenham, so I agree. I don't necessarily believe the stories. There's been a report that's come out in the last half hour since we've been live. Someone's just DM'd me, a journalist quite close to the club, saying the players are behind him and they're working hard. I don't necessarily believe the story. There may be a player or two, and I actually expect there to be a player or two that isn't happy, because I think some players know that their goose is cooked. I think some of the individuals know. Dalot as an example. I think Dalot knows no matter how hard he works, he'll be gone from the club. He doesn't fit the way we play. So would I be shocked if he told a friend who told a friend who told a journalist that he's not happy with the system? No. Does that mean that everybody's going to put a mutiny and not work hard and play it? No. I'm not really too worried about that. Obviously, I'm concerned about the finances. There was a super chat earlier that came out today that says, Terry, speak on Ineos making yet more redundancies. And yeah, it's embarrassing. The club are about to make between another 100 to 200 more redundancies. The frustration in this is because when they did the last lot, they said it was for jobs that weren't necessarily needed, and they had to save money. And now they're looking to do it again. The average person that they're making redundant on around 40 grand a year. So you're talking there could be savings between 20 and 40 million pound a year. The problem then is the misinterpretation of everything. So they're saying they need to do this to help fund the first team. But that buys one player. That's just stupid. I don't think people are putting, they're like, well, 1 and 1 equals 2. The redundancies are not so much to be able to physically go out and buy the players. The money is there to buy the players. The problem is that you have to have wriggle room for mistakes, because you are going to buy players that don't work. The interest, people are just saying, let's pay the interest off. That costs 60, pay the debt off for your billions, and that saves 60 million pound a year in interest. Again, that can't be done. The Glazers won't sanction Ineos paying it off, because Ineos will want a higher percentage of ownership, and the Glazers don't want to give that up. So you can't blame Ineos for that. And even if you do pay the debts off and you save 60 million a year, yes, it would save the jobs. So the Glazers are stopping that, but you can't use it to buy players with. So you have to, the only way to pay right now, the only option to pay the debt down is for money to be saved for other departments and go towards paying the debt off. which will lower the interest payments, which over time gives the club more money. It's a horrible situation that we're in. I'm not happy that people are being made redundant. I don't like the route that we're going down. But what I haven't seen, a lot of the suggestions I see, I go, oh, that sounds good. They pay this or they do that. Then you hear the financial experts understand PSR speak and they go, well, clubs can't do that. The experts go, well, that can't be done. So it's very difficult for me I'm angry that we're doing it and I'm frustrated we're in this situation, but it's hard to say, it's a hard thing for me to complain about because I don't know what the solution is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
As in, you all know that I'd love the Qataris to come and buy us tomorrow. I have no problem with that. But also that's not going to happen. And it was never likely to happen because no one, including the Qataris, ever bid the asking price that the fucking Glazers wanted. And the reason why the Glazers set a high asking price is because they know the club's going to keep growing in value. One, because fans don't want to pull their money out. And it's such a horrible situation. You've got all this turmoil on the pitch. The club's trying to build a squad good enough for a manager who needs a specific group of players. At the same time, the finances are absolutely screwed for 11 years of mismanagement. We're having to do horrible things to members of staff at the football club to save money in areas. The fans don't fully understand it because the mainstream media is not reporting on it accurately. And what I mean by accurately is they're not giving the full. So I heard Simon Jordan talk about it, and obviously he understands finance very well. And so someone called in and said, well, why can't I just pay off the debt? And he explained it. And he just said, well, because PSR doesn't allow that newfound money through paying the debt off to go towards buying players. So it doesn't help you in the transfers. And the Glazers won't allow Ineos to pay the debt off because any money Ineos pay into the club that the Ineos are going to give up ownership for, the Glazers want that money for themselves. So there's nothing that Sir Jim can do about that. He can't just pay the debt off. It's impossible. And what he's not going to do is pay £600 million of debt off with his own money and not own more of the club. And I understand that. It's the club right now. This is one thing I would say that the United fans, it's why I'm probably not losing my shit as regularly as our games anymore. I just don't feel like being angry right now and adding any more layers of frustration and toxicity helps because it's an absolute. Even I know a little bit about what goes on financially at clubs with my old job and having spoke to these financial experts. But since United have taken over, the amount I've learned more things that I honestly assumed that the Qataris could buy us and pay the debt off and we could just spend. Turns out that ain't fucking true. Turns out, so it's not even as simple as just a billionaire paying our debts off. And I thought it was. It's honestly so frustrating. What would help is if the Glazers would allow, and this is where I think, again, we're going back to the protests. And I see big United accounts talk about, we've got a protest. I'm like, I think protests are great. But if you're all going to go into the stadium afterwards, I think they're futile. But I'll unite with you and promote them. I think Man United, I think we've got to readdress the point. I think we've got to boycott the club financially and threaten the Glazers. We will pull the plug financially if you don't, at the very least, allow the debt to be paid off. And if the debt's paid off, what we first want done with that money is all those members of staff re-employed. Then what we want is the squad to be built. So for me, I'm not even like these stories about losing the dressing room and players not being happy. I'm almost not even that bothered by them. I'm looking at the way we're being run and I'm thinking to myself, there's fucking problems here. There's problems and we're doing horrible things to working class people to fix it. And what I will say, barring people saying billionaires pump the money in, which they can't just do because of the rules, I don't even know what the solution is. Genuinely, I don't know. It's a horrible situation at my club at the minute, I tell you.
There is nothing to do about Man United other than the Glazers have to go. Honest with you, there is nothing to do more. What's his name? Sir Jim Ratcliffe have less financial, they can't spend the money they want. They can't replace the whole team, and that is the whole point. You need to replace your team. Some of the players you have are not good enough. But that's what happened to them. But that's about it. And in my opinion, I think the problem is, Terry, and I'm just going to say this, if it doesn't work with Amorim, I think it will take longer. The more managers you fire, the longer it will take for the next manager to solve. Because now the players have more power, to be honest with you. And I think that.
No, I agree. And look, I'm not saying there are not solutions, but I think that what actually needs to happen is a number of Man United fans need to come together. I think we need to have honest conversations. It's like when I say, I'm not saying don't protest. What I am saying is, I don't believe protests by themselves will work with the Glazers or with Ineos, because Ineos, I think, are trying. I think some people think they're as bad as the Glazers, and I understand that view. I'm also very annoyed with a lot of the financial experts because I see them on TV talking about these things and they don't address what the solutions are. They say it's wrong they're doing X, it's wrong they're doing Y. They're not doing this, they're not doing that. Why don't you educate us on what we can and can't do? Because some of the responses I see from people make it sound very simplistic for us to be fixed. And I don't think it's that easy. And if it is, let's have it out. If it is as simple as the billionaires that own us, as in not the Ineos, they can just pay the debts off. If they can just do that and there's no recourse, if they can pump the money in, because what I was told by Kieran Maguire is Ineos can pump in as much money as they want. However, it's deductible under PSR. So even if they pump in the money to keep these staff employed, if we're sailing close to the PSR wind, that money doesn't count towards buying new players. We actually have to make a more profit or less losses. So you have to reduce your outgoings. And the problem is, I understand. Listen, we made a mistake with Ashworth, and that's there. But those mistakes are going to happen when you're building a squad and you're hiring the people to run the club. The mistakes are very expensive compared to everyday normal working people like us. And there has to be leeway in that. You have to have a buffer because you're going to make. I think I read somewhere once that only 50% of transfers are deemed successful, which means you have to have a buffer of money in place. If you want to build a squad over the next 3 years to win the league, you have to have a buffer in place for half your signings not to work. We can't have it where, right, we've got 200 million to spend and every signing needs to bang, because that doesn't happen anywhere. And I'm not saying that Man United fans shouldn't be angry either. I just don't think this is a simple conversation. And people say broke billionaires, fair challenge. But if they're being hamstrung by the rules and they can't just pump money in, we need to have a sensible conversation rather than just being toxic as individuals as well. It doesn't help the club if Man United fans are perpetuating lies that aren't even true about our own club. And I'm not even saying it's their fault. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not even saying it's their own fault, but yeah, it's crazy right now at the club. Genuinely crazy. Look, viewers, we'd love to get your views on everything we've spoken about today. Sorry, Super Chat came in here. Says Man City fans basically won't criticize Pep. Arsenal fans didn't want Wenger since the Invincibles for nearly 10 years. Yeah, listen, I understand they're not criticizing Pep, but I will. Sam, Mo, I appreciate you guys both coming on the show. Really do appreciate it a lot. This is going to redirect you to Footy Judge Mo's channel, so go and support him. We're live tonight after Everton versus Liverpool, where the result doesn't really matter anymore because Liverpool have already won the league, but we're going to be live after it anyway. So until next time, people, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again soon. Peace.